The British may have created the first aircraft carriers, but it took an American design to turn them into the kings of the high seas. The Essex class of aircraft carriers, like the USS Intrepid, have been described as the most significant warships in American naval history. They were an innovation driven by the Second World War.
The key thing to keep in mind is Europe's already at war. France surrenders to Hitler. We're still at peace, but the United States becomes very worried, so we embark on building the largest naval force the world has ever seen.
When the U.S. was thrust into war by the Japanese-led attacks on Pearl Harbor, having a top-of-the-line fleet of aircraft carriers became of utmost importance.
As we get to the period past Pearl Harbor, a carrier goes from the up-and-coming new vessel out there to being the dominant vessel at sea. So as we build less battleships, we start building more carriers, and this is our ultimate carrier design of the period.
The designers of the Essex-class carriers took early U.S. carrier designs and supersized them. The USS Intrepid is 60 feet longer and more than a third heavier than its predecessors.
The key difference with the Essex class in terms of the flight deck is that it's larger. When we look at the earlier carriers the United States had built, for the most part, they had slightly smaller dimensions, reflecting the fact that when they're designed in the 30s, we're talking about lighter aircraft, in some cases still biplanes. So you need larger space for these aircraft to launch. You want to launch more aircraft on a major strike.
With larger, heavier aircraft, designers of the Essex-class aircraft carrier faced a similar challenge that engineers of the Queen Elizabeth face today: how to get planes to and from the flight deck quickly.
A big innovation that allows for that is one of the elevators being moved off to the side, sticking off from the flight deck. This is going to take less space away for the elevators.
The elevator on the side of the deck allowed planes to be transported from the hangars below and onto the flight deck without interfering with flying operations. These ships were so well engineered, they became history's most prolific aircraft carrier design.
Ultimately, they complete 26 of them, 17 during the Second World War. Intrepid is the third of the Essex class.
Despite coming under heavy enemy attack during the war, not a single Essex-class carrier was sunk. Engineers had made the impossible possible.